All right. It's kind of late, but it's been dark out here. It's been just a dark day. If I don't do it now, I'll never do it. So, the topic is, what is consciousness? A lot of people, especially us from the urban community, we got a concept of it, but we don't fully grasp it. So, I'm going to give you the classic version of it, and I'm going to try to modernize it as far as my personal experience. Now, what we call consciousness, or let's say, what is consciousness? Consciousness in layman terms is just a mind. I'm going to say like this, put it in that way, a mind. Now, what is being conscious is the question, right? So being conscious means to be aware in layman terms, which is different from consciousness. Consciousness is a system, a mind, a state of being. But being conscious is the aware level that you're on. What are you aware of, though? Are you aware that you're black? Are you aware that your skin color white? Are you aware your nationality is Puerto Rican, Spanish, French? Are you aware that you got bills? Are you aware only that you got kids and you got to pay your bills and go to work? Are you aware that you only have your friends and your mother? Are you aware that you only have your woman and your love and you want this girl? And you're aware that you have to work out. You're aware you have to defend yourself. You're aware that shit might happen, so you have to keep a gun on you. What are you conscious of? That's the question, first of all. So we're going in from being conscious of something. We got to understand what consciousness is. So on the first level, consciousness now has many frequencies and subcategories to it. And this is what now we going into when I ask you, what are you conscious of? The first state, when you come out the womb, you're not conscious. Consciousness got to do with basically the chakra system. Every time you become what we say more conscious or aware of different things, a different chakra had opened. Let's look at the basic awareness from a child. A child, when they first born, they're not conscious. None of their chakras is open. That's just a pure soul in this animal state. All the baby doing, looking for a breast to suck. That's all they care about. So you realize that a baby is not conscious. So what is conscious? Let's look into that now. When the baby starts to get a little older, it opens its eyes. The first thing it does is it knows its parents' smell. It knows its mother even before opening the eyes, just from the smell. That's why it's not good to let the doctor be the first one to touch your baby, because that's when the sense of self-identification come in. The baby know who its birth parent is by that first scent that it takes in when it breathes. And so usually it's supposed to be the parents, the mother or the father, So I just want you to understand that's important. Now back to this consciousness. All right, the first level you will notice is once the baby start opening its eyes, it's aware of who its parents is. That's the first chakra opening right there, the root chakra. With that happening now, you notice the purple on me? Purple is real, y'all. I done crossed that level with the crown chakra. It's open. I'm open up there. That's the purple you see. My glow is going to be purple. I'm going to be a purple being on y'all in the reflective light, that is. So anyways, now, once the child first chakra open, it's aware of who his parent is. It knows its mother. It'll cry for her when she leaves the room. So now this is like levels of consciousness coming in. By the time the second chakra open, the child is already now mimicking words. Words is a form of awareness, you could say, or what we say consciousness, because once they start being able to develop speech, they also develop the ability to walk, crawl. Those is levels of consciousness. That's the second chakra opening. People, we don't tend to know what the chakras is, what's their purpose, what is going on. It's an invisible psychic system. Google cannabinoid system. And you will see there is a system you hardly know about. You know about your nervous system, but we don't in the Western world we don't know about what makes us conscious, what makes us unconscious, because they use it against us. So back to what we were saying now, the child, as the second chakra opens, it starts to learn to talk. By it's making mama sound, gaga doodoo and all that, all of a sudden it learns motion. The body start forming those words to move in reference to the tongue as it moves. So now the child reaches this first, second level of consciousness, which now gives it possession. That's the stomach, navel chakra, you could say, which is where you will have your control. You want to control things, possession, sense of your own. You understand? You need to know first, which now makes the, like, say the child is a baby crawling, maybe just starting his first stages of walking. You will notice if a stranger comes to the house or you get visitors, the child grabs onto your leg and hide behind it looking, because it's conscious now of other people. It's not just conscious of wanting a bottle, and it's just not conscious of who his parent is. It's actually conscious of strangers. So you see, as we grow, we become conscious on levels of consciousness. We don't just, oh, I'm here, I'm alert, I know everything. No, it don't work like that. It's perceptions inside of you that give you angles to look from. So say you was a child, you're looking below. Then as you go up, you get higher. But now you only could see straight ahead. But perception make you able to pan up and pan down, pan left, pan right. So you see the whole view of it. Right now, none of us have full view. So consciousness is also what's called perception. From what I'm telling you about the child all of a sudden now have perception. He's understanding the difference between his mother and a stranger. And so as he grows now, his sense of ownership or belonging is going to take on what's more like an animal kingdom, where he's going to run with a group of people and chill out with just his friends and try to be loyal, find him a mate or a woman. Each one of these is different chakras open, and with the heart chakra being tested next, you know, to see his bravery, his courage. All of these now is in the development of what's called consciousness. Once you reach the crown chakra, this is after, you know, you leave the animal stage of you dating women and fucking a lot of women, or dating a lot of men and thinking you're the shit because you got nice ass and titties. Niggas working out and realizing they could do their thing, they got big dicks and all that. Then motherfuckers lose that and find either one woman, or they stop dating and abusing the whole beast mentality side of ourselves, and start seeking out higher things, such as educating themselves, going into their work field, going to college. You know, some probably get pregnant in the process and start having kids. So now their consciousness shift from all that I was saying to now, if you're a mother or parent, family life, learning sympathy, learning to be a child again and see all the mistakes you did being replicated through your child, and they lying to you in front and two now. So all of this is levels of consciousness that you're being offered by God, or you could say the universe, the world, the earth, is showing you back a reflection of what you are, and you are growing through this day-to-day same repetition, but it's being different perceptions of it, different views of it. So now the stages of consciousness become what we call, first, there's 4 stages. The main 4 stages, we're using not just Indian, Gnostic, it's universal. The first stage is called the sleeping stage. You're asleep. You're not actually awake. You think you're awake, but you're dreaming. Everybody's like that. That's called the sleep state. You know how they word it? It would be like you go to sleep at night, right? Then you wake up in the morning, but you're still dreaming. You didn't wake up. It's similar like when the stars come out at night, then the sun come up. The stars are still there. You just can't see them. So it's the same thing. You're in your fantasy. You're dreaming. You think of you as the nurse, the doctor. You got your house. You got your car. You think that, you know, it's real. And what you're doing is the shit. You got your family. You're taking care of them. That's the sleep state. You're not awake. You're not conscious at all. Now, the next level is called the conscious self. Being conscious of yourself. So now you leave from just being asleep to being the I. You only know about yourself. You start to be conscious of, you know, usually this happened through post-trauma from them being asleep and living what's called their fantasy, their dream. This happens usually when you leave the household, your mother and them and father abusing you, or you just want better than what they offered, so you go out and chase that fantasy. Your job is to now get good everything so you could qualify for those potentials that you had in yourself, and you make it happen. You raising the family how you see fit, unlike how you was raised, giving them everything. Those is fantasies. You made it up because of your own self. You don't know why you're here, and you don't know what you're supposed to do. That's the actuality. You just here like, I'm ready, but you don't know what. So that's why they say, yo, what are you doing? You're fantasizing, you're sleeping, you're dreaming. So anyways, now when you become conscious of yourself, these is the things that you start to be aware of, that people who was your friends ain't really your friends, because once you start disagreeing with things, they don't agree with you. So when you become conscious of yourself, then after that you become conscious of your environment. You're almost there now. That's when you are awakened. That's a conscious person, one who is conscious of his environment. Now, metaphysically speaking, what happens when you become truly awakened? You know, they call the first stage, the second stage is what they call the vigil state of sleep. It's like you're in a lucid state between wake and sleep. You're conscious of some of your activities, but not in control of them. You have no willpower. This is where the law of attraction come in. So you got your spirits really controlling everything. When you're unconscious, you're under the influence of demons, the elements in the air. That means you do things spontaneously without reason. And it's not you that's doing it, it's the demons acting through you. By you being unconscious, you're giving them a vessel to work through, because they can have impulse over you and give you sensations to make you react how they want you to react. So most people that's unconscious become the opposing energy for those people that is conscious, who's in control of their life and took their own redemption from the government and from everything else of their belief system, and say they're going to be their own individual and be in control of their destiny. And so you will see now, that's when people are like, no, don't do that, that's bad, that's not good. You see all the forces start opposing you, but you have to be strong and push off those forces, because they're there purposely to distract you from what you have to do, so you won't ascend or become conscious. To become conscious is when you are one with the universe, you're one with nature, in the sense of when you're fully conscious, you're going to see things, you're going to have visions, you're going to have powers to actually heal and help people. You actually see things before it happens. It's like there's a whole nother world offered to you once you awaken, but you're no longer under the protection of a Doldebroth or the demiurge or the creator or God. You're on your own now to learn. You know, this is go to the pyramid text where they tell you, everybody cheer for Eunice. He has made it back home. The toothless one has made it back. You understand? He come with his knife dripping with blood. And, you know, he fought the lion. He fought this animal, and he sent all the beasts back into the earth. That means you let go all your desires, and you stepped up now, and you took on the challenges of just living in your own comfort zone of life, or what your fantasy is, and just explored life and seen what it was about. So you got to see more of life. By you seeing more of life, beings come and help you to make it through this abyss or this thing that you know nothing about. You see, you got to realize our government working against our consciousness. For them, they offer us a better way, technology, improvement in doing things as far as productivity, but it denies you your right of passage to your senses. By you having these gadgets, these technology, even the offering of everything to you, I'll give you the simplest one. Just having the car outside in the parking lot. You deny yourself, especially if you're African American and you're highly melanated, vitamin D. Most people become vitamin D deficient because of the fact they just go in their house into their car. Where you come from a soft part of the world. That part of the world is indigenous to you for many particular reasons. One of them is because of your skin texture. Your skin texture is tough, so it's made for being in the sun and being in hot places and towards the magnetic field of the earth, which will be the equator. So when you're under those circumstances, your skin now is a protection device, and vitamin D synthesizes for you during the course of the day while you're out there in the magnetic field and in the sun. But when you're in the north, it renders you no type of vitamin D. Your body can't synthesize it with enough time. So you're not conscious of some of the things that I'm saying. It's like you got many levels to consciousness that you have to be awakened to. So when we talking about now you paying attention to like simple things like those, you realize those is the key understanding that the government use against you to make you comfortable in your zone and whatever you're doing. So when you get comfortable, all you're gonna do now is just be happy, go to work. Whatever is on TV that they're telling you to achieve is what you're gonna be focusing on, whether it be an updated app or some type of new way of living. And so we lose our true indigenous self, as like I said, the African or wherever you're from that had food indigenous to you. When you talk in the north, there is no food in the north. The place only had like maybe 2 foods or whatever it may be to choose from as far as nutritional fruits and vegetables. So there was malnutrition. Anything that came from the north or Europe or anything, it has a deficiency of nutrients to it because they didn't have nutrients on that side of the world at that time. Those people migrated there, and because those places only had dinosaurs, giants, beasts, creatures. Those is the creatures they talk about in the Bible when they be like, God tell you He's going to send you back into the wilderness with the beasts and the creatures. And so you got to realize those parts of the world was uninhabited, and you're put in a place that don't have what you need. And being conscious actually means you have to be conscious of that fact. That's the urban version. Now back to this now. If you let them decoy you, you will always miss being conscious because you can't ascend if you don't have the proper environment, proper nutrients, and proper, you could say, people around you to support your growth, your evolution. So with that in mind now, when we talking about being fully conscious and awake, now is when you see more of the world. You won't have the illusion of what you think is going to happen or how you see it. Ra is coming, the Egyptian rules, the Nordics rule, whatever your thing is, the Chinese rules, and all this other stuff, whatever you believe. Just get rid of it, and life will show you what it is. Reality will come in as a mystical place. The earth is a mystical place, but you have to be able to journey there and take these chances. So most of our fantasy is tied into our ego. So by us having an ego, we constrain ourselves to this reality. Even for us, most of us now who's taking this journey into, like, when you become conscious, you have these extra bodies. That's what help you become conscious. So when I say conscious of yourself and then switch it off to conscious of the environment, which is the last one, you realize you're here on earth now, and you realize you're a soul. And this soul, what are you doing here? Who put you here? What's your purpose? You become afraid. Once you become afraid, it's like putting you on a deserted island with no food, no nothing, and you're from the urban city that you had everything and telling you to find a way to survive. It becomes like post-traumatic stress for you. And so now the calling go out, a distress in your consciousness go out to the universe, and the gods come back that is part of you. Your spirits now come alive. They was dormant because you was too comfortable, and once they awaken, it's like the matrix takes place within your subconscious, where if anything was going to happen to you, at the last second before it happens, some type of warning sign will go off. Your spirits is working in your favor. Intuitionally, it will direct you to their path where you belong. And so all of this is what's offered to you when you become conscious. Consciousness means you're going to take responsibility for your own actions. There's no one to say there is a Savior. There's no one to say about a Jesus. There's no one to say about a God. You're a part of the system. You're an heir to God, as he says in Galatians. So you got to realize if you're an heir to him, that means you have to live up to his standards. And so by you living up to his standards, you play the role of what's called the fool. The fool is the same as the absolute zero, the 0 point reference energy. Because you got to realize, for you to understand that concept, the fool is a word that actually means empty. Nothing is in it. That's why he don't give a fuck. He's willing to say anything, take chances. And that's what a God is. A God does things extraordinary beyond what a regular mundane would do. And so for you to embrace yourself or the consciousness, you have to be willing to take that chance. And that chance is being bold, sometimes looked upon as a fool. The same thing as silly, which is what was it? That's a Scandinavian word for sigil, which meant holy or divine. So the actual word silly really means divine. It's like they took everything and twisted it around. The fool was the most powerful word out because that's saying God too. That's another divine word for what was it actually mean? I can't remember the second I want to tell you something that's not all the way accurate. So I'm going to get back to that. But the fool is very important to know that it's okay to play that. And that's why it's the highest card in the tarot deck. You understand? Aside from the ace, then come the fool. And so you realize that you playing your consciousness is actually, you're going to get things wrong at first, but eventually from keep playing it, you're going to master it and you're going to learn what you're supposed to be learning, not what this person is learning, not that one is learning, just what you're supposed to learn. So when you're now talking about becoming conscious, you first start becoming conscious of yourself. This is a lot of people that's in the black pride now, noticing they're black, playing the, different aspects of the Afrocentric group, Egypt and everything. Once you start doing that, you're on the right path to your own awakening. Even if it's a different race, I don't care if you're white, you looking up your white shit, or the Scandinavians and the Nordics and all that, Chinese looking up the Yang and the food dynasty and all that, whatever it is, Africa, whatever you're looking up. And all of this now is your first level of consciousness. It's trying to dig back to see who you are, where you come from. And then you will find out, in that journey, a lot of truth. But it doesn't just end there. Now you get into the fact that you're not the body. After you search all of that, you ain't going to find what you're looking for. And you can't be described by your color. And you realize who made up this color is these Europeans. They said, you're white and I'm black. So you be like, yes, I'm black and you're white. So you be like, they're white people, I'm black people. You didn't make that up. And so you just participating in that. When you finish, you're going to realize you're the soul. Your soul could have incarnated anywhere. You could have incarnated in Europe. You could have incarnated in China. You could have incarnated in Africa. And that determines your language, your color, your skin. But you're still the same soul, so you have to be first conscious of that now and say you're not the body, you're the soul. And so when you get on this level of consciousness, now you start seeking soul things and higher level things. And this is now where you find your astral body and your soul. The astral body takes you to your soul. And this will start taking place as you're doing your studies about your I, who you are, bragging about you, always talking about yourself. That's cool for a little while, but you have to take it to the next level because those is the spirit that is in you. You have the spirit now, but the spirits could rule you. You're not the spirits, you're the consciousness in the spirit, in the body. So how this works, let me explain it to you then. What is exactly consciousness? Consciousness itself is 3 rays of light. This 3-ray of light is green, blue, and purple. It makes the triangle, the triad, the trinity. All of this now is what's inside your DNA. It's like a little spark, a little fairy running around. That's your consciousness. It has the ability to stay in your body, stay in your lower self, your higher self, or leave and go wherever it wants. It could split into multiple pieces, as million as it wants, and that's why you have empathy. You have the way to share heart and feel. By you sharing heart and feel, it's the same thing as string theory and the laws of entanglement, where one particle share, you touch one, all of them feel it. You have the ability to do that because in your purest form, you're a cell, and this cell is light. So now consciousness, who you are, is a light floating around in your DNA, in the tube of it. But your tube is not limited like you ever see the tests where they put DNA and water, two separate cups, and one react to the other. It's not limited to just the tube. It could go anywhere, because in the subsolace world of the subatomic, we live in DNA. This air is DNA. It's just so tiny you can't see it. They'll be trying to like look at Predator. And you see, if you standing in front of you in the air, you could just see a very thin outline of him, but he's there. That's how DNA is in this whole air, this whole atmosphere, that as particles bumping in and out. They'll call it particle, particles, but you have the ability to assume one of those particles and go everywhere. This is when you get to a higher level of consciousness. So you're offered many different things now when you get into this whole conscious movement, because now you have a soul, and I tell you that you're not the body and you realize you're the soul. Once you become conscious of this, perceptions is changing. It's like how you looking straight, now you can look up. Oh shit, I wasn't just on the earth. There's something above me. You know, and so once you realize all of this, now your eyes, your ambition, your goals is on different things. It's like on a new level on a video game. You don't want to play the old level no more. You excited you're on the new level, so you just want to explore the board first before you do anything. So the astral body gets you into astral projection, remote viewing, healing. You could actually feel what other people is feeling. It's unlimited what you could do. You could see the past, present, future. You could get into the left-hand craft of doing voodoo and black magic and all that stuff, or you could get on the right-hand path of doing light work and Wicca, whatever you want to call it. Some people just use it for intelligence, like me. I'm what's more considered the demion, the genius. I took the energy of the Holy One. Some people get crazy with it and lose their mind. Some people start just seeing spirits. A lot of people do readings and all this with it. But me, I took it to the highest level, which is to be God. You know, I read the books and I understood it. I was pulled in, I didn't ask for it. And so I took myself from being spooked, possessed, all this other stuff, to whipping their asses, and they work for me now. And that's how it's supposed to be. It tell you that in all the books. You see in the coffin text, that's what Uni did. He beat them all. He come out with his sword bleeding. But you don't beat them from physically fighting. It's from confronting your fears. Once you confront your fears, your perception keep going up in what you could see. So you won't see the world from just your fantasy or what they schooled you and told you, what science told you, what your parents told you. You actually get to see life from what it really is. The fire for the fire. If it's hot, you touched it, and that's how you know. And so this is what's offered to you with the astral body and the soul. So now once you get acquainted with those two, you learn to fly around and you get to see everything. You learn to heal. You probably have premonitions, but now it's more position offered to you, because that drags you after a while of flying around through space and time. It pulls you into what's called the underworld, the Tuat. More than this happens is you start seeing these creatures. If you astral project and leave your body, if you're fully conscious, being conscious doesn't just mean to be conscious of this three-dimensional world. Fully conscious is different levels to it. You have DNA that actually activates, because now you're aware. Your DNA going to start braiding. So you go from a 4-strand DNA, which give you a 3-dimensional view, to a 6 to 8-strand DNA, which give you a 4-dimensional view and a 5-dimensional view. With these views, you have overlays in your eyes as glares. A lot of people will feel these upgrades as these little blue orb lights flying by, which come and land exactly at the bottom of your eyelid. They give you diamonds. You get these diamonds and you acquire them, it breaks this 3-dimensional world. So it's like the same as going to sleep. When you close your eyes, you break this reality, because your consciousness created this from what it thought, from the education it created. Put it like this. It could be something in front of you right now, right here, that you can't see. You know why you can't see it? Because you're not conscious of it and you never identified it. So your brain filters it out. Everything work off of brain waves. And so the brain has the ability, just like if you ever saw something that scared you or you thought was there and you flinch and look and it wasn't there no more, well, it's still there. It's just that your brainwave filtered out that frequency. Look at it from when you was a child. You saw these spirits and different beings and all this stuff, and was probably your play friend. And then as you got older, it disappeared. You didn't have it no more. It didn't disappear because it come back in your older life, but it was always there. We filtered it out because we was afraid of it. So when you become conscious now, on the highest level of consciousness, you start astral projection and leaving your body. You now enter the underworld to go face your true self. This is where you meet your soul, and your soul have many lives. All your lives is going to be shown to you, and you have to confront the personalities you have played out in these lives, these egos you played out in these lives, and they'll come as ghost images. So a lot of you see yourselves in the astral world and run. Let me tell you, when you look at it from the aspect of how the ancients saw it, they never saw aliens. Aliens is government created. Nobody actually saw alien, have an alien. All that shit that they tell you is propaganda. If it was here, many people would be chilling with aliens, hugging them up. Yo, look, right here. You understand? But it's not. It's a theory, and people are buying into it. When you go to sleep, your astral body and your soul leaves, and it goes on other journeys. If you're conscious or you wake up in like a lucid state, this is when you go into sleep paralysis. These experiences seem so real to you, and you feel them like if it was a UFO abduction. So people wake up talking about they got abducted by a UFO, actually see marks on their body, because if you damage the astral body, then the physical body shows the actual imprints of the astral imprint. And so these people would think that they got abducted, don't have no proof of anything, not even up to today, and don't realize it's more demons and spirits that is doing this. Not no UFOs, no aliens, no grays, none of that reptilian stuff. It's actually they themselves, the demon, their thought energies. And the government know this. Everybody knows thought has form, and you are a multiple being that live many lives. And so you get integrated with the soul. Once you integrate with the soul show you your child ego, your lucid, promiscuous self, your drunkardness when you was drunk, and all of it is still inside of you in your subconscious that you actually play out by like a deck of cards or chess. You thinking or you saying this, but in reality your motive is to do this. And so you use covert ways to do it, and this is how we live. Behind closed doors, none of us is the truth of who we are. We pretend in person, but what happens when you come to full consciousness, you can't pretend no more. You gotta be that person you are. So it takes you to yourself, and you meet yourself in the mirror. And if you're sexually promiscuous, using people for this and this, it will show you that. And once it shows you that, you will realize that